up, people? What's up, people? Just came from getting myself a good late night snack, a little turkey bacon cheeseburger. Now I'm gonna make myself a little rant on the way home. Discuss a few different things. Put a few different things in perspective. What's the dilly? Okay, let me pull off. Okay. For those who don't know, that's Country House Diner down on Fulton and Vanderbilt. I only really come there because, well, I've been coming there for years, over a decade and a half, good 15 years I've been coming there. You know, they don't serve any pork. Very small establishment, but it's, it's neighborhood friendly. It's still one of the, spots that's in Bed-Stuy that feel like Bed-Stuy. Big used to go there. The spot been there for like 47 years. So, it's been my local spot for years. I come all the way from my side of town sometimes, man, just to come sit, reflect, and have a meal of myself at times. Well, I bring my kids there. I've even brought a few dates there. Something that I really enjoy. So you know how that go. But tonight, people, it's just regular rambling. Nothing structured, nothing scheduled. But I just have a topic to discuss or just get off my chest as I drive back home. And this particular topic that I'm talking about today is reputation, imagery, and how people project their image and how people feel their images, within themselves, and they don't really take into account what other people think about them, which, people often say, I don't care what nobody think about me. I don't care what nobody think about me. However, when people say that, they often have a thought about themselves that's usually over-perceptualized. It may be heightened, and it may be not what they're projecting to the world. And the reason I got this topic, I was talking to one of my mans, a good friend of mine, man. He got himself deported by, doing a few different things back to DR. This is one of my right-hand mans from way back, man. Born and raised with this brother. Whenever you see me in DR, I'm usually with him running around the city. Santiago, Puerto Plata, Punta Cana, Sosúa, everywhere I'm running around with this boy. And this is my comrade, man. This is my brother in arms. So, I'm talking to him yesterday, and I'm reflecting on a time from Ramadan. And during this Ramadan, I pledged to visit a friend doing life in prison each weekend of the Ramadan month, which turned out to be about 3 weekends because I came back from vacation the first weekend of Ramadan, so I wasn't able to go that weekend. So for 3 weekends, I was able to go visit a friend behind bars doing life in prison, in the New York State prison. So I went every weekend, and I went to visit these people. I sat down with them, I built with them, and I just brought my spirit to them, and I allowed their spirit, to be passed on to me. Because a lot of them have positive spirits, even though their circumstances, are what they are. So this one particular brother that I went to sit down with, a good friend of mine, he got about 40 years to life, for a body that he caught, in Brooklyn. So it's a good friend of mine. Sitting down with the brother, having a conversation with the brother, and he's, we just reminiscing, going back and forth, and he's telling me, reach out to the bros. They know I did this for them. I'm like, this to the block, this to the set. And I did reach out to the bros. I did reach out to a few people. One in particular was a brother that does the pictures on Instagram. I'm not going to really, say the brother's name. He does the pictures. He does the old school pictures. He does the throwbacks of people on Instagram. So this is this brother's man. This brother tells me, reach out to that brother. Send him my picture. Tell him to post me up there. I heard he be posting all the gangsters and all that on Instagram. So I said, all right, bro. Send me if, we took the flicks on the dance floor, on the visitor floor. And I said, listen, I'll do that. I got you, brother. So I did that. You know, I reached out to this particular brother, let him know, yo, listen, bro said, can you post his pictures, show him some love, you know, maybe he'll get something out of this. The particular brother I shot the pictures to never responded back. You know, he never responded back. It showed that he actually seen my message, and the bro didn't say nothing. Then I checked the bro posting other people. I see what he's doing, and I see him doing things like that, and he never responded back to my message. Although I shouldn't have felt away, but I shouldn't have felt. I felt a little bit about that, so I did feel away. So I reached out to my man, who's also a mutual friend of this kid. My man. I reached out to him from DR. I reached out to the bro and told him, listen, bro, I reached out to your man on behalf of our other man in order for him to put these pictures up. He said, well, listen, man, you know, the way that brother presented his, you know, imagery is not the way those brothers present him. They don't see him like that. He's not an important factor of that area, of that set, of this. You know, his imagery is not that. It doesn't equate to that. So we get into a conversation and we start thinking, and then again, it also brings me back to what sparked these rants is these New York City blood brothers, man, that started these little videos and all that. So I just started to understand, like, you know what? A lot of people perceptualize themselves differently than other people perceptualize them, and they have a false sense of superiority. Some of them, they have a false sense of, you know what I mean, how their, you know, image affects other people. So it's a lot of things going on in these people's minds that is not equating to other people's minds. So a lot of these people are not seen the way they think they're seen. So with my man we took the picture on the visiting floor and I sent it, this guy has a different reality than what's being projected out here. In individuals in the prison space or any urban community or just anywhere, especially, you know, places like Instagram, Facebook, these type of places, they're projecting these images of themselves, you know, and this is what they're running with. This is who they believe they are. But there's definitely people who do not believe that and are not promoting that. And it may be true. Some people may not be presenting that way, the way they think they are. They may not be that tough. You know, they may not be that successful. And people know this, but they're just not discussing this with them. They're just not giving you that vibe that they don't believe you, because life is so different now. There's not enough bluntness. So people will let you move around this world thinking that, you know, you are a different person, and you really might not be. So this just taught me a valuable lesson when I realized that, you know, a lot of people, and maybe myself, man. So I started to stop referencing myself from whatever I may have done in events in my past, or putting myself, or even telling myself or anybody else that I'm a gangster, because me personally, I don't even know if I was even projecting that, and I don't even want to even give nobody that opportunity to dispute that. I feel like having less said is speaking value. So I'm going to stop speaking those type of terms, or even speaking about my success, or even speaking about anything like that. And I just let it show for itself. You know, and if somebody wants to be genuine and, you know what I mean, give me a shout or give me a praise, you know, I'll gladly accept it and return the favor, you know, if it's warranted. But I just understood that there's a lot of people walking around with false sense of, you know, accomplishments, and they utilize one or two events and put it to make it seem as if they're owed something. So my brother, who's upstate, I didn't even discuss this with him. He keep asking me, yo, did some post it? And I just, you know, I'm like, yo, bro, I don't know if he's seen the message. I don't think son know who. He probably got a lot of DMs. You know, it's making excuses, and I'm not being blunt. I'm not saying, well, listen, bro, your band didn't reach out. He didn't even reach back. And from what I'm hearing, I don't think they view you as important enough to put on this particular page, because you're not that type of notable factor to that environment as you think you are. So I haven't been blunt myself. I'll admit that. So I don't even know what's the next step I should take with my bro, because every time he reach out to me, he's asking me about this brother and what's going on, and And those are particularly his individuals that he kind of grew up with, that he was raised around, and they're not just seeing him the way he presents. So it's kind of different. He feels a good way about them, but he also feels that he raised them and he's responsible for their success, blah blah blah. So it's a catch-22 when it comes to that. So I just feel like, imagery is important. You have to protect your reputation. As much as these brothers use the word 48 and 48 laws of power and trying to live by those particular principles, I really feel a lot of those principles that are related to the 48 laws of power have been outdated and unable to be used because of this social media era, because of this era where it doesn't take much to win a war, because you don't even need to be in the community, the streets, to even fight a war, because you can fight it on the internet in Arkansas while you in Omaha. So there's really no real way to use any strategy. You can't use the 48 laws of power strategy to pull somebody off the internet, because the internet is either you believe it or you don't, or who makes the funniest. So it's very difficult to even fight that particular beast with the strategies that the art of war teach. The art of war is still very prevalent and relevant in environments of certain urban environments like the streets or prison, more so, because even the streets, drug selling and all that has even somehow been infiltrated by social media. So it's a little different. But prison is definitely one of the grounds a lot of brothers can still use some of those principles. But overall, the most important principle is the reputation principle. The image. Image is everything. You have to guard it with your life, and it's true. So your image is something that you have to protect. You have to maintain that with the most integral part of your spirit, if possible, daily. So a lot of brothers believe that their reputation are solid, and they haven't even really took a chance to even determine who believes that. A lot of brothers just go off of an event that they done, the prison time they're serving, or maybe their affiliations. They haven't really sat down and inquired on how their reputation impacts their community, individuals around them, or anything of that such. So they just automatically think, because of their events or things that happen in their life, that their reputation should be valued. So to end this rant, I just want to discuss, just do your best to protect your image, and please stop using that term, you don't care what nobody else thinks about you, because that particular term already has a negative connotation to it, whereas you believe that you can go in this world doing whatever you want, being whoever you want, and you're not really worried about how that affects you, because you feel like you're going to just go against all rules and live an antisocial lifestyle. But you never know what that particular attitude may block you from, may bring to you or bring to others around you. I'm not asking you to care if somebody doesn't like your dress or anything like that, or care if somebody doesn't like your hairstyle. Those are superficial things that people will get over. I'm just asking just to understand that what you're projecting and how you're projecting it is your face card, is your presentation that you're presenting to the world. This is something that you're carrying around. This is the first thing people see, is that, how you're presenting yourself and how you're carrying yourself, and some of the characteristics. It takes some time to get to know them in depth, but that first impression rule still stands. You should not be so dismissive of what other people think because you feel like you're going to go against the norms. Just take some time, think about things, think about how you present, think about how you say things, think about how you act in the community, and how it may affect you, your children, others around you, your family, just for a moment. I mean, like my man that's up north, he has a thought that his commitment to the community affected his community to the point where they want to celebrate him, and at the end of it all, he's, nobody is trying to celebrate this brother. So if I had to talk to a young person, I would let him know, man, like, because you've reached the heights that you thought you reached. Most young gangsters want to be shooters and killers and thugs. Some of them don't even necessarily want to be rich. They just want to be feared and revered as a shooter or a gangster. There's plenty of individuals who've sitting up north right now with 2 bodies, 3 bodies. Nobody even know them. They're not even. Nobody even say freedom. They're not even mentioned anymore. So I would just end that way. Sorry, I was looking for the police. That's why I got quiet, people. Sometimes Utica Avenue be kind of hot. I don't want to play around with them, man. I was going to try to take that light. So I'm going to end that way, end my rant, end my ramble, and see you guys another time.